All right, wait on low. It's exactly, yeah, it's exactly 12:02. Perfect time to start a 12 o'clock meeting. Any earlier would just be ludicrous. I am excited to be leading the meeting today. It brings me back to my roots for many years. So we're in for a treat. And now that Jay's here, we can get started. So we love to start just always showing our mission, our vision, our values, our beliefs without looking at this up on the screen. Does anyone know what our mission is, or our part of our mission of Keller Williams? Have those little mints for anyone that answers correctly. You just got to go down to the front desk and get them. Anyone have one of the 5? Legacy's worth leaving, which just was added like 2 years ago, because that's an important piece. I mean, real estate, what you're doing to your clients, but also at Keller Williams, we do have the luxury of profit share for those that want to take advantage. So legacy's worth leaving is a good one. Is this worth owning? Now, I think the reason why I originally was attracted to Keller Williams and wanted to leave a solid company for the unknown when there wasn't one here was for that reason, just the business is worth owning piece, because I was running myself ragged, doing everything by myself, but I had no idea how to leverage or hire or anything. And I just knew Keller Williams had the answer, and I didn't want to go to the North Shore for it. I'm like, I don't like leaving New Berlin, it's a little bubble. That's a good one. There's 3 more. Experiences worth having and lives worth living. Oh, that is my favorite. Salads worth eating. There's one more. Careers worth having. The real estate one. So you have your job, you have your business, and most people don't think about it that way. Most people treat real estate like a job. So on the topic of systems and models, what we have decided to merge to, because there's close to 1,000 Keller Williams agents now locally, which is pretty awesome. And when I say close to 1,000, it's probably closer to like 800, but why not round up? So every Friday we have the reminder about, this is for the listings. So how awesome is it when you have a pent-up buyer pool of like 100 that any day would buy a home if one would just get listed? So we have every Friday you could submit it. Every Monday you remind it. That's what we need, is constant reminders. And then you got that one spreadsheet that shares all the upcoming listings, all the new listings that are on the market. So you can be the hero, whether or not you're the listing agent and you're bringing someone in, or you're even a better hero if you have the buyer and you get them into something early. They're going to be raving about you for life. We got that set up. And now, without further ado, guys, okay, you're like, I was like freaking out. I was like, I don't want to talk about compliance. Like, I am the wrong person. She did that on purpose, I think.
Hiding back today. All right, so this is just a quick reminder for you guys, especially as we're seeing with the fun, hot market. Sometimes sellers are saying, like, I want to sell my house as is, or they're asking, do I have to fill out a condition report? And just a reminder that if they've lived in the house, they need to fill out the condition report. Even if it is an estate, and if they haven't lived there since they were a child, they still need to, if they ever lived in the house, they have to fill out a condition report. But what if for some reason they've never lived in the property, and you are walking through the house, you're doing your due diligence, you see some things that they're not filling out on the condition report. So just a reminder for everybody that licensees are you guys are required to visually inspect each property that you list. Just do a diligent, reasonably competent, we know you're not a home inspector, inspection. And if you see something that is a potential adverse fact, you have a responsibility to disclose it. And this is not excused or waived in an as-is sale. Sometimes people ask like, well, how do I disclose it? What do I need to do? And we have a form in the, zip forms from the WRA. So this is the form you would use. It just says disclosure of material adverse facts, and there's a spot on the lines there where you just write what you observed. It doesn't, you're not guaranteeing something. It's not like you don't have to be the expert. You could just say, I noticed this. And then the seller does not sign this form. You sign the form and the buyer signs to acknowledge it. So just a reminder that even if someone is selling as is, I know as a buyer's agent, I've sometimes gone into properties. I'm like, why didn't somebody tell me that basement was, falling in? I wouldn't have taken my buyer to see this. So if you see something, you have a responsibility to disclose it, even if the seller is not, does not have to make a disclosure, or if they choose not to disclose something, you should be disclosing. Any questions about that?
Yeah,
Yeah.
80% of the basements I go in have cracks.
Yeah.
Some type of movement, chimneys are a disaster. in
Yeah.
this thing. I could probably went up based on what you just said over. Sean.
Yeah.
Where do you feel is the determining line where you're not writing up reports?
Well, I mean, so it should be this would be if it's your listing. If you take a listing and you see something that the seller does not disclose, you would put this up, you would upload this into MLS with documents. If it's your buyer, you're representing them, point out to them what you see. Yep. Good question. Yes.
For MLS, just put it as an additional document.
Yep.
And then are they required, the agents, to tell the seller that?
I would best, like, if there's a spot for the party to acknowledge it, so just let them know I have a responsibility. I have to disclose this because I saw it. Like I'm not an expert, but you chose not to, and that's totally fine. But I have to disclose this. Yeah.
In your description or your scenario, taking your buyers
Mhm.
through and you see something. Them or
So I would write this up as you could write it up as a buyer's agent, but I would just let them know that you saw that. This would be more for if it's your listing.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Like, what if your seller doesn't want, like, they're at it, they're like, oh. I mean.
Yeah.
I've had that happen before.
Yeah.
So I know the answer,
Yeah.
but I just want. Real
We're
picture.
thinking of you for the future. I like the goal is that this doesn't come back to bite you, that you saw something and it wasn't, if you didn't say something and it wasn't disclosed. We don't want you to run into issues in the future. So best thing to say to your seller would just be, I would let them know I'm not a contractor, but I have a responsibility just to disclose this as part of having my license. Yeah, Katie.
What if there's like something, say you're doing, you're walking through the property and notice some like mildew in the basement and the seller's like, oh, this happened because this, but I'm gonna take care of it, and they remedy it. Do you still have to disclose that?
That's a good question. I mean, yes, I would, because
Even if it's gone?
that's a good question.
That's fixed. Seller have to.
So we can't tell the seller what to disclose and what not to disclose.
Right.
That's
Because I mentioned it to mine previously.
Yeah.
about the disclosure, and they were like, I'm gonna have this taken care of. I've got a friend who deals with it, and they're just gonna go and remove it, and I'm like, okay.
Well, and they should have saved receipts from any work done in the last 6 months. So if they had something like that done, they would supply those receipts. So it would be clear to the buyer that something was.
What if a
taken care
seller
of.
decided to do something like that themselves, then what? And it's not disclosed?
That's a good question. That's a call compliance. We'll talk through your individual like this, because that's a good question. Yeah, it's a good question. It's a really good question. I would say like specific ones, if you ever have a question about, is this something I should fill a form out, give compliance a call and we can talk through it. The biggest thing is just to protect protecting you from future issues. Somebody saying that you knew something and you didn't disclose it.
Especially once you start talking about it.
Yes.
that's
There's any
it.
correspondence back and forth.
Right. Best practice is always just to be upfront.
Rather look at a record, like if I'm buying a place that had something on there like that, it's
Yeah.
like, this was done, this
Yes.
happened, this was taken care of,
Yes,
then have it just be blank.
yes,
It's like, all right, what do you hide?
right. I think best practice as an agent is always to let people know about these things. And that's, you're not advising your seller, but like, sometimes sellers who are also buyers have seen other condition reports as they, we talk through, how do you feel when you see that somebody fixed something? It's not necessarily a bad thing. Any other questions about that? Yeah, Ethan.
Yeah, so I saw that, say that matter of like ads and sale, a lot of
Mhm.
people use to
Yep.
Is, as a buyer, you're bringing your buyer in, as is sale, it's like, there's no conditions for it, there's no listing agent.
They should be in the property.
No, I saw that too, I had a question about that.
Yeah.
Start on, well, I know a lot of listing agents do that.
Yeah, so as a licensee, they're required to walk through the property of every listing. Yep.
So, buyer agent, you buyer in, buying something. I don't know, what would be the downside in that case,
The downside of disclosing,
of not?
disclosing, just that it could come back and bite them. So let's say something was discovered after the fact and it was, and you did walk through the property and you knew about it. And you didn't disclose, someone could say that, this was an obvious thing. And let's say they didn't have a home inspection, like that doesn't pertain either. Like you could, if you walked through and you saw something, you could potentially be pulled into.
It's an ethics violation.
Yeah.
You could.
Yeah.
For sure.
What if we just like, I wrote an offer on the property, and I'm sorry that.
No, you're good.
But this just recently happened.
Yeah.
There was no real estate condition report. It was being sold as is. The seller did live in the property when he was a kid, but wanted to sell it as is. So I wrote in my offer, seller to provide a real estate condition report within 48 hours of an offer.
Yep.
We're now like on week 2 and I still don't have
He should fill it out. He needs to
it. But
fill it
like,
out.
he says he's not going to. So then how do I get it? Do I just get his brokerage involved?
That's kind of my question.
Because I need that,
What's it?
Well,
Well,
so I
they
can refuse it.
The
Oh,
seller
yeah,
can
there's the, yeah,
sign a
Yeah.
refusal to fill
That's
out.
what I told him.
yeah.
So
he
why
can
don't
sign-
we just do that?
No idea.
Yeah, so there is the form that's refusal to fill out.
Wait, let us guess. I'm recording.
You have like written email documentation to.
And text
conversation?
message.
Yeah.
Okay, I think that's,
Yes,
you really can't force somebody, I would imagine, but at least you have.
If I could just show
something.
you guys.
Yeah,
yes,
put that,
Yes.
put that in there.
I've
Yeah.
heard several times, it's either the offer, they just refuse. to do
Okay,
it.
yes. And then from there, it's your buyer's choice about what they want to do going forward. But if they still want to move forward, at least you have the. Oh, good. Oh, fine.
And
But-
it's pretty fast, like, I just refuse it.
Yeah, so that seller refusal form is if they're open to filling that out, but you do what you can do on the other side.
Maybe I'll just send it to them with like all the seller's documents.
Yep.
Just need time.
Yeah, just need to sign it. Good question.
That's why Dawn has a baseball background.
Fill out those
Or
forms.
situations like that.
We run into the same people. So, yeah,
On the offer to purchase, does it have a, I can't remember, does it have a amount of days that they have to just give it if you request it?
10 days, yeah.
So if you're
within 10
past
days.
10 days and
Yeah.
the buyer does want to get out, you have a reason to get out.
Yeah. Because they didn't provide it. Well, awesome. That's all I got, guys. Move this back to where it's supposed to be. Oop.
Thanks. Thank you for being here. You gave me a scare. All right, so we got Tech Tuesday with Kathleen Wooten.
That too. No,
We are doing a tattoo event.
I'll monitor.
Good
that.
idea.
This
We perked up.
Okay, so here, so coming up on Thursday, we are going to do a training all about the 36 touch. But we understand that every time we say 36 touch, a lot of people are like, that's like a lot of touches, right? So we are breaking it down for you quarterly. So these are going to be 9 touches that you're going to need for quarter 3. Okay. So when you think of real estate, you think of me, right? That's the goal. When we talk about 36 touch system is to get those that are already in our database to think of us when they have a real estate need. So what is a 36 touch? It's something that's systematic and it's a marketing and prospecting technique. It ensures year-round contact with your Met database. And it's a combination of emails, mailings, letters, cards, pop-bys, phone calls, events. So not all 36 touches are phone calls. So we can just breathe a little easier there. 36 phone calls a year.
Yeah, it's suggestion.
Yeah. So it's not that, right? We can do a combination of different marketing techniques. So this is pulled straight for the MREA. For every 12 people in your Met database to which you market yourself 33 to 36 times a year, you can reasonably expect to net 2 sales. One of those sales will likely be repeat business and the other will likely be referral business. So when we talk about wanting to build a referral business for yourself, where people are just giving you the business, right? It all comes down to how strong is your 36 touch system. So using that conversion ratio of 12 to 2, if you wanted to make 50 sales a year, you would need to have 300 people in your Met database. That's full contact information, not just an email. Okay, full contact information, who you've sent through your 36 touch program. Okay. So your database and your relationships to your database are the heart of your business. So Thursdays, 11 a.m. on Zoom, we're going to be talking about the 9 touches you should implement into quarter 3. We are going to have a guest with Kristen Schlingman, and in a year, she gets about 2 to 3 deals just off of delivering pop-bys to her past clients. You want to know how she does that? Huh?
I'd sign up with her. It's Popeyes.
Yeah. So yeah, if you want to know what she does to do that and get that business, definitely join us on Zoom Thursday at 11. Okay.
Let's do like Rob. Yeah. Let's get the energy up. Speaking of energy, we got these 4 good-looking guys right up, coming up to the front of the room. Please, we got a panel of Glover U takeaways. So we have Carlos, Nate, Alex, and Jeff. And we have 3 chairs just to mess with you.
What was that?
He's literally going right now. He's waiting for it to rain.
All right, so I see that you guys got your notes, your takeaways, and for everyone who doesn't know, Jeff Glover is a real estate coach. He runs a team in Michigan, sells about 1,000 homes a year, but his big passion now is putting on training events and his podcasts and his retreats and all of that. So one just came up. It was June. It was the middle of June, right? It's been about a month. You got a month to soak stuff in, so it's the perfect time because Nate could put that on his shelf and have a really smart bookshelf, or he could actually put some of that stuff into application and then benefit from it. So my first question, and we haven't gone over these, so this is like they're all sweating, right? Like what I'm gonna ask you. Okay. So
You can't sweat. You're like.
oh, I didn't even realize. Anyways, so my first question, just out of curiosity, would be, I know that it costs money to go to this event. I know that it's a good chunk of time. It was probably what, four nights? Yeah. And it fell, the travel day happened to be on Father's Day. How many of you are fathers? Jeff, you're
Like a step.
Yes. So.
You're not my
we had-
dad.
You're like a
So
Can't tell you what to do.
you guys had a lot of reasons and excuses to not go. What ultimately led to you signing up and making that commitment? And I don't, you can start with me.
What was, well, it was free for me. That's about it. No, I'm
Because
just kidding.
you're.
No, but I
you're a
coach with
client.
them, so it was
Okay.
free, like the actual admission was free. But I am like a lifelong learner. I'm always wanting to learn how I can grow, how I can get better, what is working in today's market, what's changing. I wanted to meet people from like agents from other markets that were doing better than me, so I could soak it in. And that was my reason.
Okay.
My reason is that when you go to a lot of different events, they give you like, not just, but they give you like, I built my business around social media or prospecting fires or whatever. With Jeff's, like, they'll interview people who do social media and get leads from it, but then they also dive into like, what are they actually doing or posting on social media to capture those leads? So it's really more in depth on how to do it, not just kind of like what you're doing to get it.
So there's some content to it. It's not just like fluff. Like, oh, I do the 36 touch, and you're like, tell me more. And they're like, yeah, so I would agree with that 100%.
Yeah, when I signed up, I didn't even know what day was gonna fall on, so
Typical dad.
it just came Father's Day, and I had a nice breakfast, and then I left. So, yeah, I mean, the knowledge that you gain, I did 19 pages of notes, and I probably missed like half a page or somewhere. But take the notes and you can share them, but it's not the same as being there and like soaking it in with not just your crew, but you meet other people like Nate was saying, and you exchange contact information, and you never know. I mean, you have a partner in the state. I've been lucky enough where I've actually gotten or given a few referrals out. Easy money. Girls, so I know Katie. But it's just being in a different atmosphere, learning from agents. I mean, sometimes you see agents go up on the stage that for commenting on one guy, he was a pothead the year before, and he brought it up to Jeff. He's like, man, what do I have to do to get on stage? And Jeff told him, you got to quit the pot. And the next year he's up there and he's killing it. So
He actually offered us pot like 2 years ago.
Yeah.
I was so mad when he was upstairs.
I do remember that guy.
This guy was
Because he's probably high right now.
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly right.
So but I mean, if that guy could do it, do something similar.
Yeah.
So I was actually told I was going, my wife signed this. So that was a real easy decision for me. I didn't even know, like Alex, I didn't know what day it was. I just showed up and said, where are we going?
Cool.
I did GPS to driver's seat, and that's where we went. I've been in sales all my life, and I've been to all kinds of conventions and different types of setups like this, and this by far was like the most motivational, inspirational, and full of information as far as anything that I've been to. I'll be 52 tomorrow, so it was awesome. Yeah. Oh, thank you.
Cool. And just curiosity, how many of these Glover events have you been to?
This is my second.
Jeffrey? Okay. And then
This would be my first, and we already signed up for Arizona.
Okay, cool. So I asked because each year Christmas happens typically. Each year your kids' birthdays happen, but they always seem to like sneak up on you. It's like, oh, I didn't save the money. I didn't plan ahead. So every year, we know there's gonna be 2 of these. There's gonna be one in January or February, and there's gonna be one in July or August. And every year, there's gonna be 2 main Keller Williams conventions in February, one in February and one in August. So it's when you start picking these, and I know Jeff has said this many times, not Jeff Nevin, Jeff Glover, is you should have 4 big events each year that you plan for, to just like hype you up, to get you going, to get you learning, to meet people, and you can plan ahead. You can plan those, you can plan your vacations. So what, you have 19 pages of notes, so could you just go through those quick? Just kidding. So what I always love this, and this is a 2-part question, and I'm asking it this way because we are a month out. So when you got done with the event and you're all like hopped up on adrenaline and you're excited and you're ready to take on the world, what were your top 1 or 2 takeaways at that point? And then I'm curious, a month later, what have you put into place? What have you changed or gotten rid of? And maybe it wasn't even one of your top 2 takeaways, but what has changed in your business world or your personal world since the event? So 2-part.
All right, I guess I'll go.
Yeah.
Everybody's looking this way.
Yeah.
So for me, it was really identifying the stuff that you don't know, because you don't know what you don't know, right? And without knowing that stuff, for us, it was very, so when I say us, it's me and my wife. It was very introspective to say, I'm less than a year in the real estate business. I got my license last year. March, I think it was. And it was like, all right, I'm gonna go out and sell real estate. Okay, well, hey, here's my business card. I can sell your house, buy your house. I didn't know what I was doing, but I didn't really realize until we went to this event. I didn't really know what it was that I was doing. So what we've changed is actually I signed up for the Fire Accelerator seminar course with Glover, and that's 16 weeks. It's not cheap, but it's something that I don't know how to really do it. I don't have a system. I just go out there and do it. We've been successful, thank God, by luck. But if you didn't parlay luck and some skill and some knowledge, hands down, can't beat it.
Well, if you have the personality or the sales skills, you have the entrepreneurness in you. But you don't have the purpose, you don't have the purposefulness, and purposeful is systems and models. And so you can get so far on your own and then you'll just level off. But when you add that purpose in those systems, that's when you can take off. Or heaven forbid, you don't have to work as much. You don't always have to just do more and do more and do more. Maybe you just have a better lifestyle.
Yeah.
Okay. Alex?
Yeah, so, a lot of us talk about, your big why do you do things? But this one, it kind of hit home, it's like, who is your who? Like, who is the person in your generation, in your family, who is going to be the, change the future of your family? Like, who's going to be the one that's going to turn into a millionaire? Who's the one who, and it's just finding that person who brings out the biggest, positive influence energy from you, to be able to change the course of your life. And he kind of covered 2 days, but like Ed Milet was there and he talked about his dad, and, it was very emotional. Everybody's crying. But and it's true. It's like you gotta be the one in your family to change. And I'm not saying you, but everybody has that person in their life, and why it should be you. You're in this position.
Yeah, it's not cheap to get Ed Milet if you don't know who he is, and he's a very powerful speaker. So with that in mind, has anything changed other than like your mindset around that? Like, what have you done to ensure that?
Yeah, so for me, I'm focusing on my systems and, building a team. I have new admin. Shannon over there, who, is gonna take out a large role in getting me set up so then I can focus on a team and have the systems in place. To make things easier for everyone. And that way together we grow and build each other up.
That's a lot. That's huge. It's a big step. It's a scary step, but you did it. All right, Jeff.
Going this time, I really kind of focused on what, because Jeff interviews a whole bunch of high-level agents. It's all probably 50 to 100 plus a year. So I wanted to focus on what are all those teams doing that have common ground. And I found like 4 really good ones. So every one of them has coaching. He was talking about like who's who. Coaching, I know, it could cost like $1,000 a month, but you don't need that kind of coach to have one. It's more of an accountability partner. For me at Shore West, I had Scott Allen, then it was Joe Singshine, my partner, and then we ended up hiring Kim like in the past year. So even with me, I didn't have anybody to hire and pay $1,000 a month for. So, but every single one of them had coaching. You need that. Secondly, is they all like have their scripts. This might sound redundant, but you have to practice your scripts, knowing what to say and when to say it. And my lad said, our job is like, we are consistently trying to get people to believe what we're saying. But if you're telling somebody why you should go with me, for example, or it's not going to work. You have to like walk them through that process for them to come up with that conclusion themselves. So that's like where the skill work comes from. We used to be 2 years ago, it was like speed to lead, but now we're in a market where it's all skill based. So working on those skills to convince sellers to go with 6% listing, to go with the price that you want to sell listing for. If you're just going to tell them what the price is without helping them sell, it's going to be a lot harder when they come up and say, well, I want to try it at this price. So things like that for the scripts. Morning routine. So we hear morning routine as like, I get up, take a shower, I work out.
You work out after you shower?
Yeah, whatever.
Jeff doesn't work out in the morning.
No. Oh, not like
I'm trying to get.
or doing like meditation, but really when they talk about it, it's setting time aside to filling your database with new contacts. So like for me in the morning, it's 11, like holding that accountable, doing nothing else but trying to find new business. It doesn't have to be that either, and it doesn't have to be expired with the semi-owners. For example, the team, Mark does his morning routine, if you want to call it, from, is it like 2 to 4 when he door knocks?
Yeah.
Afternoon. Oh, there you are. Hey, Mark. So afternoon, but you hold that accountable, right? Like nothing stops you. Once you say you're going to do it that day, that's it.
As long as we don't have a bunch of other.
Just say yes. Just say yes.
You're ruining it, Mark. Right. But that's the point, is you're doing some kind of activity, you're holding yourself to it to find new business. Because if you don't find new business, I mean, you're going to have your ups and downs. And then lastly, knowing your numbers. So for example, for me, I know that I have a 62% listings taken success rate. So, and I have 64 contacts per listing appointment. Means so I want 25 more listings by the end of the year, or closings. I know that I need to do 40 listing appointments, and I have to contact 2,500 people. So that's helped me when I
2560.
Well, yeah, I wasn't going to be weird and say 2060.
Is that a day?
See, know your numbers. Know your numbers. So, but that helps me when I have a bad day and nobody, like, I don't schedule a listing. just knowing that one step closer, how far I am away from getting it. So knowing your numbers really helps. But every single individual that was selling 50 plus or team selling 100 plus, we're doing all these things religiously. So that's what I've discovered and working on doing every day, I guess.
Yeah, you're not gonna go to these events and there's gonna be some magic secret pill that that no one knew about other than now your whole life is easy. A lot of it is reinforcing what you know, but getting it engraved in there more, or just getting it like where you're gonna actually do it, or hearing it in a different way. And sometimes when you've been to 3 of them, you might have heard the same thing, but this is the one where it really like sunk in for you. So I love that. Nate?
Yeah, kind of going off of that, I've been to one last year and the one this year. From the one last year to this year, my team changed a lot, so I've changed a lot. And so you hear a lot of the same things in a different way, or you hear it differently. And so like for me, the biggest takeaway from the entire event was how much like the top producers, or the people that we want to emulate, how much they focus on mindset. Right. And everyone hears mindset, and they even said this, and they just like, okay, I'm gonna brush this one off. I'll kind of listen. But like if we, just like you had said, the information is out there pretty much for free. Go to YouTube, you can pretty much figure any strategy you want to have a successful business. The question is can you do it every single day when it gets boring, when you get kicked in the face, when you get screamed at, when you get rejection, and just keep doing it, hit your numbers that you have to know every single day, and like get through that. Like, and then that goes back to why are you doing all this, right? And so they have like the Live Unreal formula, which all starts at, first off, what are your numbers? And then it goes up to like, what's your why? And then what's your unreal life, and kind of building that. So the 2 things that I've implemented the 2 things that Jeff said were his advice to get to the next level, which were number 1, identify people who are doing what you want to be doing and find a way to get around them or study them. And so one of the things that I'm doing is I connected with this guy who's down in Tennessee, who's selling 100 listings a year, and he's 21 years old. And I'm actually going down there in like 2 weeks to just shadow it. I want to get around people like that. And then the other thing is, he said, find your unfair advantage, which his has always been his work ethic. And that's kind of what I resonate with too, is I know my mornings, I'm willing to work hard. I'm willing to like get into a routine, even when it gets boring, and just do it every single day. And that is, focusing on what you're doing, not what the results are, is what gets you to the results. So.
Oh yeah. So out of curiosity, you went last year.
Yeah.
And did you sign up for coaching then?
I signed up for coaching at the beginning of this year.
Okay.
Yeah.
What is
Actually, I did technically, because my team and I took the group coaching first as soon as I left that. And then once we went through those, then I signed up for one-on-one coaching.
And just, do you know how much your business is up in the last year?
I mean,
or-
it went from 27 units to 57 units to however many we're gonna do, like hopefully 70, 75.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's just, you're someone that just, get it and then you'll do it. And like all you guys are. But there's a lot of people that get the info and then they're like, whatever. So, but you guys, the secret is that you do it, you take action. Just out of curiosity, a quick question would be, who did you meet any potential referral partners, or how many, or did you get cards? Like what, because a real strategy for me, and actually our second or third highest form of income, is from referral sales from across the country, from going to events, because that's real money. And if you think of Wisconsin, like, don't think of Katie, think of me, like I'm bigger. Like if you picture Wisconsin, you would probably picture me like eating cheese and drinking beer, not Katie, right? That's what I tell people, But did you guys meet anyone, or have you got referrals? Or I'm just curious on that, to just because that's a side benefit. You get one referral, you get 4 times what you paid for it.
Well, I haven't gotten any referrals yet, but I did connect with probably 4 or 5 people on a pretty deep level, to the point where 3 of them I have a call with every 1 day a week to do a script practice with. Yeah.
That's awesome.
So we're script practicing either, our phone calls or one of them, I do a listing appointment every single week, practice it together on Zoom. And so, I mean, it hasn't turned into a referral yet, but there's other benefits to it that way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if they do, like, they're gonna think of you right away.
Yeah.
The one thing we don't have going for us is we live in Milwaukee. Like,
Yeah.
that's hard. But like, if you lived in Orlando, yeah, Nashville, you'd probably get, but it still happens. So what about you guys?
I met Jeff Glover, we're best friends now. But no,
So this we're outside the hotel, just standing there, and then Jeff Glover walks by, and this guy can't even talk, he's like.
I forgot your name.
Like, dude, it's just Jeff. I know. Shake his hand.
Didn't you interview him?
I did.
You interviewing for your book?
That's never.
No, it is. It's done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What did we say? July of next year?
All right. Maybe. Ready to read it. I'm gonna be.
And what about you guys for like referral partners? Do you
I mean,
make it a focus?
Got some cards, I gave some cards, but nothing yet.
I love,
Yeah.
Your
same
first
for
one?
me. I was like trying to figure it all out.
yeah, you're like drinking from the fire. hose. Nicole, was it last year or was that 2 years ago already?
January.
Oh my God, Jesus. I've been to like 7 or 8 of Lover events. And I just remember like, hey, Nicole, you want to eat? She's like, no, I'm gonna eat with these strangers. It's like, she just purposely like every meal, she would go sit at a different table, meet them. Cause there's some people that are like, hey, take my card, and then you just like throw it out. But if you're purposeful about like meaningful connections, it can really pay off.
Yeah.
Is there anything else I didn't ask that I should have, or that you want to share as we wrap up?
I just you gotta do one. Pull it and just do it. It's
Tax write-off.
it's right up
You know what a write-off is.
there. I don't need to know, because they're the ones writing it off. We're talking time. They're the ones.
Yeah.
writing it off.
think that,
But yeah, you just gotta do it. You gotta do it. It's
Yeah.
amazing.
and I think the theme of the event, which we've been talking about in our meetings too a lot, which is operating out of a business plan, knowing what your plan is and not just like operating like it's your hobby.
Yeah.
Right. And so having it written down, having it with you, sharing it with people you love, your spouse, your whatever, friends, so that way you have some sort of accountability with it. Because that's what separates someone who, is gonna fail out of the business, 90% of agents, to the ones who stay in. So,
Yeah, I would say just find a way to do it and get there. It's sacrifice. I mean, that's why you're in this business, because you're sacrificing something to get to where you want to go. So, very tactful information. Tactical information that you can use. And, where like my first 6 months, I did 2 deals. But that's because I was busy building my pipeline. I knew I was going to succeed, and I didn't have a plan B. This was plan A. Yeah, I lived on credit cards for 6 months, which I'm still paying off. But I consolidated the debt and that's because I know I can do it. I don't have a mindset where I can't do it. I'm gonna do it. So.
Alex came to a 36 touch class, like his first month in the business. And there was like energy coming, like I just could feel it. And then like that next week he had a party already planned. Like, it's like, oh, but I'm new and I don't have any money. And it's like, he didn't care. He just did it. So it's, again, a theme. Cool.
I think it's just a great alternative to, if you don't want to pay for mega camp or family reunion when they could cost like $1,000 a ticket. This is a more affordable ticket. You're getting just the information.
And you can do Traverse City too, right? You do that every year.
Yeah.
So that's, we drove.
like tickets there is on our own, like $150.
Are they
Do
really?
Yeah.
you guys have the date
How did
for
you do it?
February?
Yeah,
January.
it's January 15th through 18th.
January, right after, right?
Vegas
Cool.
and then head over to.
February.
Happy in Arizona.
All right, thank you guys. Big round of applause. That's awesome. We call these guys Glover lovers. All right, so speaking of trainings and events and things that we can expand on. Well, one thing to mention, because I don't want to not, like, we're gonna promote Mega Camp too. Like, there's so much good with the KW events. And one thing that I absolutely love, and I don't know if a lot of people know this, but when Jeff Glover, he's been a top 100 agent at KW forever. He started when he was like 19. Him and Gary have a very close relationship, but he was very close with Mike Ferry too. Those were like his two idols. When Jeff said, "Hey, I'm going to start this coaching company," Gary said, "That's awesome, man. Like, I'm really rooting for you. Like, what can I do to help?" And Mike Ferry said, basically, "Don't talk to me again. Like, you're my competition now. Like, I want nothing to do with you." And that, I think, says a lot about our company, because the tagline is where entrepreneurs thrive. And it's like, sure, he's taking away, like, Nate could have a maths coach, you know, he's taking away from, but it's an abundance mentality. So that's why we love to promote this. But also, like, there is big benefits and takeaways to the mega camps and the family reunions too. So it's just an alternative and option. So just a reminder, I'm not Diana. She's growing herself, Team Leader Skills Camp. Now this is an intense class. It's a 4-day class that I hear really good things about. So she's not just sipping Mai Tai somewhere. She's like working really hard. We have Ignite that's going on right now. Not right now, but you know what I mean. Raise your hand if you're in Ignite. Everson, you're the only one?
Yes, so.
Oh, we got two. All right. So how many people are in here? Because it's a combined class of the 4 market centers.
Probably like 20, 30.
Okay. So it's Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 9 to noon. And I will say you did session 4 yesterday. So, and you can plug in, right? Whenever you want. It's not. I will say the people that come to session 1 and then actually stick to session 14, what is probably going to be typically half or less. So like, are you someone that shows up? Are you someone that honors your commitments? Or are you someone that just flakes out when it gets hard, like Nate said, Ethan? And you were one of them, right? Like a boss. So that's awesome. But you get so much information from people doing it. You get 14 different personality styles that you can learn from. So plug and play if you want that. We always have productivity coaching on Thursdays, and Thursday, not tomorrow, it's building your personal brand part 2. So huge stuff. If you're not doing this could be all, you can do this mostly for free, like building a good brand, unless you're Mark and you got to wrap your truck. How much did that cost you? $500. See, that's not too bad.
Yeah,
If we, like that could backfire too. So if you are a full-time, if you have a full-time job, real estate is hard to get in. Alex burned the ships. He went all in, but sometimes that's not an option for everyone. We do have productivity coaching after dark, it's Ignite, right?
Yes, it's kind of a little bit of everything. Yeah, it's like a lot into thank you.
I could just sit, I imagine there's like Zach and James are playing each other in chess, or they're like video games involved. That was just, but no, there's actually learning. 5:30 to 7 on Mondays, which is awesome. And now, a couple events to mark your calendars for. We have Wind Down Tuesday, July 25th, 3 p.m. And in case that's not enough, oh yeah, sorry. Let me go into details. Wednesday, 3 p.m. or is it Tuesday at 3 p.m. here? And then if that's not enough, we have a happy hour Wednesday, July 26th from 4 to 6 with Cream City Mortgage. Gustavo's still here or did he leave?
Is
He
the
just-
first one here? or-
Yeah, right? Yeah.
Very few.
Right here.
Just lying.
So then Thursday,
What?
Abby, could you come up here?
Also.
At a bar. No, not by design. You can live a life by default or by design. We're designing our life. So we have a big regional training event coming up. And do you want to share it? Because
Yeah.
share who you are.
Today.
Share who you are.
So those that don't know me, I'm Abby. I know most of the faces in here. I am the regional tech trainer for our region, and that covers several states. So we've got Wisconsin, Minnesota, North Dakota, South Dakota, Wyoming, and Montana. So KW is broken up into regions. Those are our states. So basically, I'm working with every market center in those states to train on technology, keep everyone updated, labbing the technology, all that fun stuff. So I get to work with Kathleen really closely. So on behalf of the region, we are hosting an event on Thursday. You may recognize the gentleman on the top. That is Scott. He will be leading a panel of some top agents in our region. So we've got, I believe, an agent from Appleton, Green Bay, Prestige, and North Shore. We have added 2 more people. Jay Schmidt and Bruce Gallagher are also going to be on the panel. So this will be updated.
Phew.
Yeah. So you've got some more
That's a
people.
lot of power. Yeah.
Yes, yes. So a lot of knowledge to unpack in that morning. Lunch will be provided, and then in the afternoon, one of our good friends, Chris, he's coming from Florida to teach his 200 to 2 class. So who here wants 2 more closings? Or who wants 2 closings? Oh dear God, not everyone's hands up. Okay.
More than 2. Yeah.
Okay, 2, at least 2, okay. So he teaches a really great class around, so I'll back up. He's a KWU approved trainer. He is a co-business owner and founder of his Leverage Strong company, which I'm sure he'll share a little bit about. And then he's also a labs advisor. So he's involved in the tech. He's testing it out like Scott and I do. So he's coming here and going to be teaching how to turn $200 into 2 closings. And this is going to be geared towards using command, follow-up plans, ROI formulas, marketing tips and tricks. So the first 2 hours is going to be him sharing ideas and more of a presenting. The last hour is actually going to be spent as a workshop where everyone is going to be working on a follow-up plan while you sit there. So in the morning, you're getting the insights and the information and the knowledge, and then we're putting it right into action in the afternoon. So all of this for $19.99, right? So
It's even better.
I was gonna say, do I get to share the good news? Okay, this is not my offer, but I was informed that for Milwaukee Southwest, if you register and attend, you show up and participate, you will be reimbursed your money. And if you bring a guest and they come with you, you will be entered to win a $50 gas gift card or Visa gift card. So it's free if you go, guys. Essentially, you pay it up
If you
front,
go.
accountability, yes. If you show up and attend. So this is a day for agents, okay? So we've got people from Madison, Green Bay. I don't know if our Montana people will make it over. Any questions on this? We've got to fill it up to an attendance to have it be a great event. So I'll be co-hosting it with the region. If you have questions about it, you can reach out to me. I feel like there's one other thing I was gonna say.
So bring your computer.
Yes, bring your computer, and it will be at New Berlin Ale House. So in the
Take
banquet
the
center.
trolley.
Take the trolley. Knowing us, we'll probably stick around and have happy hour after. So who knows? But
How
Okay.
happy do we need to be?
I know, unless you're hungover from the first 2 days.
I would say one thing is we fought really hard as Wisconsin to get regional events here. Because every time since our existence, we've had to, if we had something like this, you'd have to fly to Minneapolis. And then you'd have to get a hotel and all that extra expense and cost. We are now to the point, nearly 1,000 agents, like I said, where we can host our own. So if these don't like go super well, then they'll be like, should we really let them do this? So
I'll add to that from being in the regional meetings where we talk about planning this. If it doesn't show up to be a good event, it will no longer be offered here. So we have to go where the people are gonna show up and attend. So, and we chose this topic because people wanted more listings and more deals. So give the people what they want, right?
it's like
In your own time.
it's like the Geico commercial with like the dollar bill. Like, let's keep it here.
Yeah.
The last slide, actually, I think it's the last slide. Which, my God, timing, I'm like blown away. Every time I lead a meeting, it'd be like 1:17. I'm like, I'm almost done. Quiet. So we have a big event coming on July 29th. It is 10 a.m. to 2. It's at our office. Now, there's two big things I want to share about this. One, if you're not an innovator and just like whatever it takes, like what Alex did, and by the way, he used to work for Ashley Furniture. So what he did was there was a photos with Santa event at Ashley. He just printed a flyer on it and put his name and his logo and said, come to my photos of Santa event at Ashley. So everyone thought like he planned it, he paid for Santa, whatever, but he just like, just snuck that in there. And then all these people are like, you started a week ago, how do you have 73 clients? So genius. But if you don't have that, use this as an opportunity to contact your database. Because when you call them and you say, hey, I'm running my office is doing this electronic recycling event. I know if you ever have any like batteries or big TVs or anything you want to get rid of, like this is the time to do it. And you don't have to worry about the operations behind it, the planning. You don't have to pay for it. You don't have to do anything. And you just get to plug in. I think this is a really, really cool opportunity, kind of like how we've done Pi Days in the past. The other thing is, one major reason you don't do a client event is because you're afraid that no one's going to show up, right? Who has thought that? Or is it just me? Like when you're starting off, like, oh, I do this client event, but there's going to be 2 people there. I'm going to look, well, there's going to be a lot of people here and no one knows if it's your client or whatever. So it's just a really good opportunity that's free for you. Now, I will say this it's not even underlined, but it's bolded, not bolded. It's whatever you call it, capitalized. We do need volunteers. So if we get emails that you might, Brooke has sent an email or 2 on this, we'll send another one. But if you could come for an hour and volunteer, they can't do this just on their own. So if you're able to be here this day, or if you use this as a really good strategy for lead gen and you want to actually meet your clients here, like come here, and when they show up, that's where the magic happens. That's when they talk about real estate or the home or whatever, or I'm thinking of selling, but that's the magic. So I'd highly encourage you to tell all your people about this. I'd highly encourage you to volunteer.
You're just basically helping people move the stuff from their trunks into the van. So if you're gonna be here for your clients anyways, just help your clients move the monitor into the van. So if you're planning on being here anyways, please just let us know on that sign up so that we can tell Camera Crew that we have a couple of people in.
And you don't need to be here 10 to 2 if you don't want, like, as far as the volunteer, like sign up for an hour or sign up for 2. And then if you want to leave earlier, come late, you can. But if we have enough people each hour, it'll be good. So we love doing stuff like this because it makes your job easier and it gets the phone. This thing does dial out, like you can make phone calls on it. It's not just like for TikTok and for things, you can call people with it. So, or text, you can, this is where it's at. So hopefully we'll see you guys there. All these things, mice. Oh, I was reading. So like your mouse, I imagine, on your computer, not like mice.
Yeah.
With that being said, it's 1 o'clock.
I don't know.
Bye. Oh yeah. Oh no. Mega Camp is coming August 15th and 16th. Oh. No. Forgot about those.
We brought this up.